guys, welcome to Oddly Specific. I'm June. Today I'm not going to be complaining about anything. I'm going to be genuinely talking about something that I love with my entire heart, something that is so near and dear to me, and something that's just fantastic and without fault, and cannot be criticized in the slightest, and I am in constant fear of my beau. Today's topic is pickup artist YouTube. It's never been spoken about before. I am entirely unique in talking about it, but it's amazing. I watch it unironically. I watch it because I find it just psychologically interesting and just entirely hilarious. It is the funniest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. It's just great. If you are having a bad day, just watch a pickup artist on YouTube. Watch their tutorials on how to pick up girls. Just watch them talk for a little bit and feel your brain start to turn off but go with it. It is just by far the best form of entertainment that we as a society have created. I'm not really gonna go into any particular pickup artists that I watch. I'm not going to be talking about sexism or any of those things that come in mind when you think of pickup artists. From watching them and from reading comments and just the idea of a pickup artist and the idea of what they're doing, their purpose is basically to teach you how to be an alpha male, right? To tell you how to be so alpha that other men and women bow down to you, women throw themselves at you like they're in a fucking frenzy and they can't control themselves, men cry at the sight of you, and, everyone is just, their balls are so much smaller compared to yours. They're supposed to be the alpha males, right? Here's what I do not understand about that statement. I don't have an idea of what an alpha male should look like. That's just not language I think of. That's just not something I think of as a real thing. I don't think of people in terms as alpha. But, when I think of an alpha male, if I, had to force myself to, it is never what a pickup artist looks like. Why does every pickup artist either look like a suburban dad on, the verge of a divorce, or a rejected mall goth who, got kicked out from the group because he preferred the fingerless gloves from Claire's instead of Hot Topic? But they just do not look like what I imagine an alpha male would look like. They legitimately either look like that dad who's even divorced kids don't like dads that their kids don't want to hang out with because they're just clingy dads. If the dad was picking up his daughter from soccer practice, all of her friends are going to see who can kick his car first. The kind of dad where it's hey, you have to go hang out with your dad over the weekend, and all the kids are but I don't want to. Just the dad whose kids don't like him, or the dad who if I saw him on the street, my fear isn't, oh, he's going to hit on my friends and make them all uncomfortable. It's just, oh god, he's going to try to sell me knockoff Girl Scout cookies for twice their worth. Something that's just so far from what I imagine an alpha male would look like. And then there's the other on the other end of the spectrum of the pickup artists, just guys who look like they tried to be pro skaters but didn't make it. I love piercings. I'm fully behind piercings. I have multiple myself. They're pierced up. They're always really, really skinny and just uncomfortable looking. The kind of skinny where it's not by choice, just by unfair genetics, where you're thin in all the wrong places and they look frail, the type of people who just look like a gentle gust of wind could break several bones. And it's you're the alpha male? I think everyone is great in their own way, but I don't rank people by alpha and beta and all that stuff. But I definitely don't think these men count as alpha males, if such a thing exists. What am I doing in my life where the only people I could go to for advice on how to get with women is people who show no evidence that they're with a woman they're not paying to be in their videos? Or some of them film their videos completely alone, so we have no actual recorded evidence that these men have talked to a lady in their lives, who are successful in the methods that they're teaching people. We're just going off their word, basically. And it's yeah, taking people at face value is worth something. But, you understand, you turn a camera on, you could say fucking anything. You think, I don't talk to my mama like this. The amount of curse words I say in these videos, I'm an adult human being. I would never curse in front of my mother. but I will say some rancid shit in front of a camera because I can do that. You can do whatever you want when you turn on a camera. So there's no like proof that all these pickup artists who like I get all these women aren't lying to us because they very clearly could be. If you spend so much of your time worrying that someone's not going to want to fuck you, that is why someone does not want to fuck you. Pickup artists describe rejection as if, like, it's a physical assault. Like, as if every time you get rejected, not only are your feelings hurt, but you get, like, punched in the face, and then they spit on you, and then there's a spotlight, and everyone in the vicinity points and laughs at you. I have been rejected more times than I can count. None of those things have ever happened to me. Like, the worst thing that's ever happened when I get rejected is just, like, I feel a little bit bad. I'm a little bit embarrassed. Like, the only bad rejections come out of, like, middle school. Middle schoolers are fucking brutal. Have you ever, like, been in middle school and tried to ask someone out on a date? They never can just say no to you, right? They have to be, like, as vicious as humanly possible to your tiny romantic dreams because you're all, like, 12, and 12-year-olds have no hearts. And so unless, like, you're only ever getting rejected by vicious 12-year-olds, there's really no reason to treat rejection as some, like, horrible life event because it's not that big of a deal. You'll be rejected by hundreds upon hundreds of people, maybe, but there's always someone who's going to say yes, and even if no one ever does, I've said before, I will say it again, your life isn't worth less just because you don't have romance in it. If it's not romance you want, you're trying to get with someone for other reasons, your life is still very full if you're not having sex. Like, I think you're 100% sadder if you consider your life meaningless because you're not banging people on the regular. That is a sad way to go about life. You know, sex is like eating an entire pizza by yourself. To some people, it's really great, but some people are lactose intolerant, and to other people, you know, I would love to eat a whole pizza, but that's a lot of energy and effort I just do not have right now. So that's just how we should all think of sex, and that's definitely a thought that is strange to use by comparing to eating full pizzas, but, you know, that's what I'm doing today. Pickup artists are just, like, it's just such a weird genre that's been around for quite a while. Like, everyone I've ever talked to about my new obsession with watching pickup artists on YouTube, and I love them. I love every single one of them. I'm not hating on them. I'm, like, they could be awful human beings. They could be great human beings. I don't really care. I'm in it for just how hilarious it is to watch them speak about how you should talk to women who have headphones in and couldn't be sending more signals into the world that they don't want to be hit on, but how you should approach them with confidence and bouncing with your legs spread open to show that, you know, you're not, like, insecure. Like, there's all these, like, weird tips that I've never conceptualized. I have never thought. When the person that I ever first fell in love with approached me as a potential mate, he was wearing bright green short shorts and an orange shirt, and he was just not giving off alpha pheromones. He watches these videos, and I'm sorry, but he was not giving off, I'm wide open and a predator, and I hunt, like, vibes. It was not anything related to these tips, and I still talked to him. I still, you know, entered a relationship with him. I willingly got with someone who wore neon green shorts, which is, like, it is so far from the advice pickup artists are trying to give you, which is, like, make sure you touch a girl enough so you get her attention, which is, like, anyone you're trying to date, regardless of their gender, don't be too touchy-feely unless, you know, they're okay with that. I personally don't like hugging people I don't know very well. I personally don't like touching people I don't know very well. I personally don't like getting gestures like this that pickup artists tell you to do, that come here fingers, that makes you look like a fucking, like, child predator. Don't do that to anyone. Someone did that to me earlier today in a Best Buy because I look like not a large 9-year-old because I'm very short, but just, like, maybe like a medium-sized 9-year-old, a 9-year-old with a little flair, you know, because I'm wearing a bow on my head and a pink frilly dress. So a woman at Best Buy gestured to me because she wanted to see my dress, but she, of course, goes like this and gives a little, like, smirk. And I'm an adult I don't like being called out like that by other adults. Adults don't do that to each other, you know? We don't gesture at each other like that. We shouldn't. We should speak with our words because that's what we do. Don't even do that to children. If you're a child, do that to another child, but adults shouldn't talk to each other that way unless we have to use hand motions. Like she wasn't signing at me, she was just gesturing at me to come over because she thought again that I was a particularly well-dressed 9-year-old. Don't just assume that you're entitled to anyone's attention because you never are. I willingly talk in front of a camera for 15 minutes because no one else in my life wants to sit down and do this with me. I'm not entitled to their attention, but because I have access to a camera and a microphone, I can sprout my bullshit opinions onto the internet just like anyone else. That's what you should do instead. Instead of walking up to women who do not want to be hit on, just like film all of your pickup lines alone in your bedroom, because you will get the same response more often than not, which is something akin to a wall staring blankly back at you and hoping to disappear. I could just be ugly. I haven't been hit on in public in like forever. Like, that's not something that's ever happened to me in general. I've never had anyone walk up to me and start like spitting game. Like, is that still a thing that happens? The only times it's ever happened, it was always creepy and always something I didn't enjoy. Like, any time that I'm putting myself out there for a potential relationship or to like have something flirty happen, it never happens. So it's like, we don't need pickup artists. We need someone to like divulge information about when people want to be hit on or when people want to explore that as a possibility, because every time it has ever happened to me, it's always been like the worst possible time. Like, it's never okay to do it, and that's always when people choose to do it. There's the I'm like nose deep in a book, I have headphones in, I'm on a train, I have my resting bitch face, I do not want to talk to anyone, and that's when someone's like, I'm going to start speaking to you, interrupt you reading that bomb-ass book that you're reading, and I'm going to make it about me and how I want you to touch me, and that's weird. Why would you do that? It's always then. Like, no one ever hits on anyone at a good time, it seems. Like, it's never those like rom-com scenarios where you're both like vibing at like a party or someplace and you say something smooth and then the other person laughs and then they're touching your arm and it's going great and then 5 years later you're married. Like, does that happen anymore? I genuinely don't know, because all of my relationships have started out of like the dumbest things, like bad like internet pickup lines or just like stupid little scenarios that happened in real life but weren't flirtatious at all that ended up being a relationship. You know, I guess like the canned advice of like what to do instead of listening to a pickup artist is just be yourself and hopefully something will come. But most of the time, don't take anything from a pickup artist. They're definitely just trying to scam you out of your money. None of them can actually prove they've been with women. I'm starting to doubt whether all of them truly even think this way, or just know that some people generally do think all women experience an emotional wheel and want to feel upwards of hundreds of emotions per day, and you have to peg every one of these emotions to get with a woman, or that women love to argue, and if a woman is yelling at you, she definitely wants you, and not just because you might have said something that pissed her off. If you want to be with someone, you know, maybe respect them as a human being first, and maybe actually learn what their interests are. None of these pickup artists ever mention, you know, get interested in her hobbies. Ask her more about the book she's reading instead of saying, I also read books, let's talk about all the books I think are more important than the book you're reading. That sounds like better pickup advice, but, you know, I guess like the end goal of a pickup artist, as far as I can tell from these videos, isn't to start a meaningful relationship, but just to like have sex. And I can't guarantee it. I can only guess, but I don't think most of this advice helps people get sex. At the most part, it might help you become a joke on Twitter. You know, worst case scenario, she punches you. Best case scenario, she laughs. Okay case scenario, she just walks away. Definitely watch the videos to have a good laugh for yourself, but don't take any of their advice at face value because I can almost promise it will not work. That's really all my thoughts on pickup artists. I just generally think their videos are funny. I know that they're wrong, and I know that they're sexist, and I know that there's all these other, like, valid points I can make about them instead of just saying that all pickup artists kind of look like divorced dads, which they do. But that's what I focus on, because I love to watch things that I dislike, but I don't want to talk about how angry it makes me, you know? I just want to talk about what I do enjoy about it, which is just how trash, how garbage of a society we are, that there are people who make money telling you bad advice of how to live. It's amazing. We've come this far just to be so downhill, and that's beautiful. And I'll see you guys next time.